All right, one of the really important things to know is that when you're doing lots of like inlay and stuff like that, being able to nudge a box or nudge a line or nudge an element just a tiny bit is really difficult. Most of the, depending, you can set them up differently, but they're, when you hit the side button, let me select this right here. All right, and I'm going to put another box here. And I want to move that box to line those two up. I can just select that box and hit the side arrow. But you wonder, how close am I? Am I there or not? One of the amazing things that the Corel does, which is really good, is that the closer you zoom in, the more control you have over the items. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in. You can see here we're starting to get close so far. Now, I can move, select that. Whereas before, if I were to try and line that up, it might be kind of tough. But if I zoom in close enough, then your movements are moved so that you can actually move that in an infinite number of elements. And if you were to try to do this with it large, you just couldn't do it. So by moving it over, now if say you wanted to make sure you're exactly over the line, I'm going to go ahead and change that to a blue. And I'm going to go ahead and just move this line until, there we go. So we're now over. I'll go ahead and change that back to a red now. And so now we have the lines perfectly lined up. You couldn't do that unless you were super, super close. So you can zoom in until you absolutely, can fill the space. At this space, you could probably move it 1/100 of a millimeter if you needed to, which really works well when you're working with boxes and things like that have to have good joints and things that are quite easy. Any questions on that? I would say a lot of the times I'm working really, really close in order to make sure everything is lined up. Now, of course, you know that there are all sorts of numbers of things. Keyboard shortcuts which work well. I'm going to line these two boxes up here right now, and you can go up here to, you can line them left or right or up and down, but if you just use the first letters of each of those, so if you want them to be aligned at the top, just hit T and they're aligned at the top. If you want them aligned left, you hit L and they're aligned at the left. Right, hit R and they're aligned right. B for bottom and they're aligned at the bottom. So it's a really fast and easy way to manipulate things. So for example, I'm going to grab this element and I'm going to, let's say I just want to put a real quick box around it. Okay. And I want to know make sure that that is lined up. Instead of going through the menu, if you just select everything and you hit C for center and you hit E for who knows what, and there you go, 2 keystrokes and it's perfectly lined up. So there's no problem with it causing a problem. You can see for picture frames, for doing signs and stuff like that, this one, E and C, if you remember those, will save you tons of time in lining up things to be centered. Any questions so far?
What's the difference between that and
P will take whatever items you have selected and center them on your workspace.
Workspace, which we're not. Remember, we're working in whatever area we're working in. I work out of the workspace. I do all my work on the side, bring it in once I'm done.
Okay. If you forget the letters, you can go to the top menu and pull down a line, and then it'll give you the option.
Yeah, and there'll be graphics. But if you're actually, I always say try to learn the keyboard strokes because they're so simple. They're all, with the exception of E, which is probably, I don't know, Swiss for horizontal. I don't know.
E and C is centers horizontally, centers vertically.
Right. So, and it's a really powerful, quick thing to do, and you can see how things are done. Now, just for example, let's go through real quick. One of the more interesting things about Corel is that you can generate patterns like you cannot, just tons of patterns. for backgrounds and things like that. And I'm going to go ahead and start with a new file. Let's see what happens here. See, it didn't work. It didn't save it. So I'm going to go to the old one and use it. I'll just clear it out. Come on now. And I'm going to go ahead and move some of these lines. If you want to move a line, you grab it and drag it out of the way. Let me show you one more thing on this file. Say you need exactly 1 by 1 lines. If you zoom in, notice again, like in last time, I'm way off of 2 inches. It needs to be on 2. So if you zoom in close enough, then you can actually drag that right to the 2. And now you're perfect.
You can also type it in.
You can type it in up top. Dragging zoomed in is way faster. So if you're it's one way or the other. But yeah, you can just type it in right here at 2. And you can go through and click each of them and then type 4, type 5, type 6, like that. What's that?
Is there a hotkey for doing?
You know, I don't know. I just scroll out and get it back. There is a view all, which is here. Let me see. Maybe it's not on this one. You know, I zoom it. I've never... Again, I'm always working in an area. I'm never working the whole thing, especially at 24 by 48, because that's a lot of real estate to be keeping an eye on, if you're doing small things especially. So these I'm going to go ahead and you can just slide them. If you take these back to where you got them, you'll notice a little trash can forms. So that will tell you that that line will be gone when you drag it back. If you don't, it'll turn red, but it won't go away. So you drag these till the trash can shows up. We're doing laying out of different things. Okay. So one of the more powerful things that Corel lets you do quickly is, say you want to make a number of items. I'm going to go ahead and a lot of times if you go straight to the file, instead of doing an open or import, if you just open down here at the bottom, you open the file for the system, you can drag the element straight into the file without having to import or do anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and this is for a company I do some work with. And I have all the artwork in one file. And a lot of these again, working in large spaces. So I'm going to just go ahead and drag that over and open it. Oh, it's a big file. Take a second. Okay. Here is, I told you I sometimes do a, come on now. These are different elements I use for to make, for this company. I'm going to grab one here that has some pattern to it. Come on. All right, now I assume you know that up here is to combine or ungroup or group, and this ungroups all. And it's good to keep a mental note of what's grouped together and what's not. If I click this, I will end up with 15,000 different items. So I'm going to ungroup just the single items themselves. And I'm going to drag this over here into my workspace. One of the really powerful things about Corel is that say you have a file here. I'm going to grab this file, and I'm going to ungroup all of it. So there are just all sorts of different items in here. If I go to collect this, I'm going to just get that. Corel lets you select everything that's completely within the box. So if I want to do just the center, I have to leave a little bit of the outside box on. And that way, that whole group now is grouped, so you can move it. it's really powerful to be able to not select some. I think it's Illustrator. You select when you get a group of items, even items outside the box will also be selected. It's a little more difficult to use in that. So that's a really good example. Now I'll show you we're going to do some manipulation on this element right here. And it shows you some of the really interesting things you can do if you have to do large projects or you have to do a lot of things. Say you need to do business cards, so you make up a business card, and now you need to run 24 business cards off. So it's what you would do. There's two ways for using text, and probably the two keys that you use the most and you should really get used to is basically the Shift key. And the Shift key will always maintain whatever you move in an exact line, left, right, or up and down. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. So I'm going to grab it and move it. Now watch what happens when I hit the Shift key. I hit the Shift and it moves it right into space. Okay. Go ahead and right-click on any item and you duplicate it. A left click will just move it. A right click will duplicate it exactly. Now say you wanted to do a whole bunch of those, you don't have to do that again. You just use a keyboard Control Repeat, Control R, and you can just fill up as many of those as you like. It keeps them all exactly the same distance between them. What's that?
I did not know that.
Oh yeah. So now Control R, repeat. So I'm going to go ahead now and select all of those. And there's no reason to make another line. So in order to make it even, I'm going to hit the Shift. And now notice if I don't, it comes off to the side. But if I hit Shift down and right-click, I duplicate it. Control R. And now you've got an entire page of however many things you need. And there's no other work to do. You're ready to go. So it literally in 10 seconds you can fill an entire page with anything. So it's a really powerful thing, especially if you're doing boxes and things like I do, because you can get lots of elements.
Can you explain the right click again? Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Shift is working, but the right click is.
I keep getting the change documents defaults whenever I move that.
Huh. All right, let's do it.
It'll duplicate. If I hold Shift. If I don't hold Shift, it just says copy here and it works.
The Shift is only to move it, left, right, up, down.
Right, but so here.
So I always select it. I'm going to shift. I'm going to go move it. Oh, come on now, move. Sometimes you have to move it before you hit the key because it doesn't. So now it's there. If I right-click, it duplicates it. Although I didn't get everything. Yeah, it's still holding the Shift and hit right-click. Pull it, left, right-click.
Why am I getting this stupid copy move here? Right, so if I do that.
Let's see. Let me see what you're doing.
So I'm moving, I right click.
No, shift it. Hit Shift if you want it in line. Hold the Shift. No. Oh, no, stop. Okay, grab it first. Pull it.
Yep.
Hit Shift and that'll pull it in line.
Yep.
Now right click.
I am right.
No, left click. No, right click.
I am right clicking.
No, take your. Oh, that's it. Okay, cancel. No click at all. First click to select it. Right, now right click. Got it.
Oh,
Boom.
you gotta move it first.
Move it, then click. Yeah.
Move.
Don't have your hand down on the right. Or, yeah.
Right. So move, Shift.
Right click. Now hit Control R. And there you go.
Oh, that's nice. That's shit. That's Control R is awesome.
It is.
Copy paste. Yeah.
Now, say all of a sudden you've made are you ready for me to continue, or would you like to practice a little more? It's fine.
Oh, sweet sass in Alaska. That's awesome.
Now hit Control R, and it'll just... Yeah. Left to move, right to place. Okay. One of the nice things about Corel is that it stores approximately 100